I am Abby, I am topknotstitcher, and this is Jam! I realized that in my return video last month, I didn't actually introduce you all. Uh-oh, no biting. This is Jam. He's the cutest kitten in the world. Yes, he is a kitten, even though he is enormous. He's 9 or 10 months now, but he's been breaking records since he was 8 weeks old. He likes to chew, so we get some supervised chew time. I got Jam during my Flosstube hiatus. I'm going to show you how massive this little cat is. Look at that. Kitten. Okay, over there. He likes to bite things. I got Jam during my Flosstube hiatus. We adopted him in the beginning of June as a tiny little shrimp. And he has grown into an enormous cat. He's very, very, very sweet. Those of you who have been watching for a while may remember we used to have a very old rescued cat, and she was very feisty, and we ended up not really being a good fit for her and her anxiety, so we had to rehome her, and it was very sad. But shortly after, we were able to adopt Jam and give him a home. So his full name is Paddington Marmalade III because I don't know if you've heard, but I'm obsessed with Paddington, the movie, and the sequel, and also the books. So, of course, an orange kitten, we needed to name him Marmalade, but we call him Jam for short. So he's very, very cute and chunky, and he loves to play, he loves to bite, he loves to eat, he loves to sleep. He does not like getting his nails trimmed, so that's our main objective for today. Anytime he naps, trim a nail. He's the best. He's such a goofball. He's a kitten, so he's got a lot of energy, and he likes to like parkour around the apartment, so he's just like leaping from furniture to furniture. To the extent that he has knocked over chairs, like our armchairs and stuff. I mean, they're lightweight, they're like from Target. But he'll knock them over. He's a tiny little, he's not that tiny. He's 10 months and he weighs 13 pounds. But I haven't weighed him for a month, so he probably weighs more than that. We think he's part Maine Coon. He's got the fluffiest tail in the world. Sorry, I keep looking over at him. He's got the fluffiest tail in the world. He's got all the other features of Maine Coon. But his half-sister belongs to one of my friends. And she is like the tiniest, daintiest little petite creature. And he's just a chunker. But he's the best. So that was 3 minutes about Jam. Welcome back. Happy 2019. I really need my bangs trimmed, so I'm going to do this a lot. Ooh, got that side swoop going on. I was sick recently. I'm not really sick anymore, but I still have a bit of a rasp to my voice, so there you go. I'm feeling fine. Don't even worry. I also went out to breakfast this morning and was talking for 3 hours, and now I'm going to talk to you all for an hour, so maybe not the best move on my part, but I have my lovely coconut water to help rehydrate my recently sick body. I went to the store really excited to get my new favorite thing, which is coconut flavored, no, sorry, it's all coconut flavored, chocolate flavored coconut water, which is just, it's delicious. I don't really like coconut water, but it is really hydrating and wonderful when you need it. But they didn't have any, and so I tried this brand because it's in a can and not one of those cartons that's hard to recycle. And I actually really, really like this brand, Harvest Bay. I don't know where you can buy it. I got it at my local grocery store, but I'm a very big fan. End of ad. Okay, let's get into it. I have so much to share with you. When did I made my last video beginning of December. And it's the middle of January, so I have a lot to share. I have a lot of not a lot of finishes, but I have a lot of FFOs, finally. And I have a couple finishes and some new starts and some other, just lots of things to tell you. So I did write a list. I don't have that list on me, but I have my piles kind of ready to go. So hopefully this will be somewhat organized. And I'm going to start off with showing you my FFOs, because after months of these sitting around, some of them, I have finally framed up some stuff. I'm gonna, hold on, I forgot to change this where it won't go dark if I'm not clicking on it. Please hold for 2 seconds. Turn display off after never. Okay. There we go. I haven't really framed very much of my stitching. We had one piece hanging up for a while. I did one like kind of flat fold piece, and everything else has been given away. So I have limited finishing experience, and that needs to change. So a couple months ago, I went thrifting and I found a whole bunch of beautiful, amazing, perfect for my stitching frames. And I'm finally getting some progress on actually using them and framing some things. So this first piece is not actually like fully framed. Sorry, I'm just noticing the lid that's on it. It's not quite done because I didn't have, oh, I thought I just saw an uncrossed X. I didn't have a piece of foam core to lace it around. I used a piece of cardboard, and it kind of worked, but it could be a little bit better. So here, look at that! How stunning! This is Moonlight by Little House Needleworks, and I stitched it on Weeks Twilight linen, I think like 32 count, using Weeks linen thread, color linen. I love this piece. I love the moon. I love this frame. I love this piece in this frame. It's just delightful. And I turned it around, and the back of the frame is like, well, now it's taped on. It was nailed together, and so I could have pried it apart, but I was worried that would take me a long time and that I would have trouble putting it back together. But since the piece under this, it's like a painted flower or something, it was kind of recessed, so I just stuck this in. And like I said, it's laced around a piece of cardboard, which was not the best material. So it's laced one direction and then it's just taped the other direction. So I'm going to get some foam board and redo this. Plus it's a little off-centered, and it's because it was hard to lace, it's not exactly straight. So it will be, but you get the idea. I also have to, the hook goes this way. So this is going to go up on the wall above our bookshelf. So I got to get some hardware for that. But I'm very, very impressed with myself. I'm very proud of myself for finally framing something. It's not my favorite activity. In a similar fashion, I also framed this piece in the same way, just popping the piece into the frame because it was kind of recessed. So this is, look how good that came out. This is Chalkboard Mandala by Ink Circles. I stitched it in the called for linen and, well, I stitched it on Ada, but the called for color by Stephanie, and it's in gassed chalk. I love this piece so much. I passed this chart on to Stephanie, the Ivy House crafter, and she's stitching it in like a variegated red and orange and a variegated blue. So she's doing 2 copies. It's very, very cool. It's cool to see it take such a different shape in different colors. Anyway, I love this piece. I stitched this last year. I finished it like over a year ago, and now it can finally hang up. And look at that. Sorry, now I'm just distracted that the way that this is tied on, you can do a couple different lengths to hang it. Most of these pieces are going to be hung up on this wall behind me, which is currently empty and has been for a year. And then we have like one really good spot to display needlework in our living room, so we'll probably have like a rotation going on, but By the Light of the Moon is perfect, especially for the winter, so it's going to go out there. Okay, so again, very proud of my work there. We're going from like, well, no, they're all my favorites. Oh, never mind. Okay, this one I also finished a year and a half ago, And I framed it. I don't know if I ever actually showed it in a video framed, but I framed it and it was in, I showed it on Instagram. It was in like a cheap IKEA frame. It wasn't very exciting and it didn't look amazing. But I showed this little frame in my last video. How perfect is that? I love it so much. So this piece I had originally framed it in an 8x10 frame because that's what I had. And I had it kind of matted and I had it on like sticky board and the piece was kind of off-centered, and I did a very rebellious thing that might horrify some of you, but I just traced around and I cut out my stitching. So if I were to take this out, I'd have a 5x7 piece of cardboard with my stitching glued onto it. Feels so rebellious, but like, look how great that is. I'm so proud of it. I love this so much. It's another one where it's hung up on the top, so I'm gonna need to fix that. And this was hanging for a while in our living room where the moon will go and the cat's sitting on it. So this will probably go up on this wall as well. Just love it. This is a whale by Hands On Design, and this is one of the first, well, both of these. These two are the first two charts that I picked out for myself and bought for myself at the LNS and found all the materials for. This is mostly called for, I think I switched like one, like the anchor is supposed to be a different color. And so they're my first like adult cross stitch pieces, and now they're finally framed and I can feel great. Well, I'll feel great once they're hanging up. Oh wait, I'm not gonna do that. I framed all these without glass. I mean, obviously these I popped in the front and these two frames didn't have glass. This one did, and I was mostly just too lazy to go clean the glass. So I stuck it in without it, and I really like it. Okay, and then this one I am the most excited by. I showed this finish on, uh-oh, I found some hair. I showed this finish on Instagram. I really love this piece. I'm just going to show you. Okay. Oh, look at that. This is Blackbird Pincushion by Blackbird Designs. I changed the colors. It's charted just to be in black. And I made this for my beloved housemate, Birdie. And, you know, I told her, like, you don't have to, I don't have to stitch in black. I can stitch it in anything. So I let her look through all my overdyed threads, and she picked out these colors. She did a great job. She picked out the fabric too. This is on Storm Cloud Lugana 25 count. I stitched it over 2 over 2 on 25 count, which I really enjoyed. It's like a bigger stitch, right? Like it makes it a little bit larger than a 14 count. But I was worried it was going to be like way too big. But I really like it. And I love these colors and how they work with the light gray. I love it so much that I wanted to just stitch it again for myself. I was considering maybe doing another one, but 1 over 1 on 25 count, and ended up not doing that. I guess I still could. No, I haven't sold the pattern. I still could. But this one will be in my house, so whatever. Anyway, I let Birdie look through the frames that I had, and this was another thrift store find, and she really liked it with this piece, and I agreed. And so I ripped apart this frame. It had like I don't know what I did with it. Oh, it's actually, it's right here. It had this like art print mounted on foam board, and then the foam board was nailed into place, and it was all nicely covered with backing paper. So I pried out the clips and took out the piece, and I ended up just putting the stitching I feel a little rusty out of practice. Usually I do about 5, like a few minutes of chatting and then I restart it, but we're not doing that. We're doing one take. I just wrapped this around. It was on a 9x13 piece of Lugana, and so there's like a couple extra inches at the bottom and the top, but not very much on the sides. Like it goes over to like here, like it was just enough to wrap it around the edge. Anyway, I bought some stitchery tape, which I don't know who I found out about this from. I saw it in some video. It's like fabric adhesive tape, double-sided, so you stick it on and then you peel off the backing and then you can stick your fabric. So instead of having to get those sticky boards, which I don't really love, you can just use this, and then you don't need quite as much. Like it doesn't, I don't know. I wrapped it around, I got it centered, I put some of this on the top and the bottom, and then the back, some of it's actually taped with a different tape. It's not fancy for me, but I'm very proud of it. And so I'm going to try to see if I can get myself organized enough to cover the back, but I might not. And it's going to go, Birdie hasn't seen it yet, but, well, she hasn't seen it framed yet. But it will probably be hanging up in her room. So I'm very proud. This piece, no, I guess Moonlight and Blackbird were both stitched in like November, December of 2018 and are already fully finished. So I'm very proud of that, considering that. I have to show you the cat. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to pick up the camera or the computer, but he never does this. Look at that little nugget. Oh, I woke him up. He rarely will be sleeping if I'm like moving and talking. He's like jumping on me and chasing my hands and wants to sit on everything, and he's never this quiet. Not without playing a lot first, and we haven't played recently, so I'm very proud of him. I guess it is the middle of the day. Let's not give him too much credit. Anyway, 4 pieces framed. Very, very excited. I was doing these last night, and I have a couple more pieces that are finished, and I have frames for them, but I, excuse me, was kind of losing steam, and I didn't want to get to a point where I was, like, angry at my framing, because when I get impatient and angry, I get careless, and I get sloppy, and I'm already being a little bit careless with, like, reckless tape, but these aren't, they're gonna be fun. Okay. So those are my FFOs. I also have, what did I do with it? I have a finish, but I'm not sure where I put it. Okay, I have another Blackbirds piece that I finished, and I love this. Oh my goodness. Ah! What? Look how gorgeous that is. This is Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Designs, and I stitched it along with several of my NorCal crew and several others as part of the Blackbird Beatles. Sal and I absolutely love this piece. I want to stitch all of the Blackbirds now. I want to stitch all the samplers. I love it so much. I started this back in March, and I stitched basically the roof and like a little bit of brick and a chimney and a leaf. And then I didn't touch it for ages. And then I finally picked it back up and I added a little bit more. And then I basically picked it up again in, I guess, November. I basically stitched this in December, and I just love it so much. This is stitched on the Called For Weeks Confederate Gray linen, and I did some color converting. I think I have like 2 of the Called For colors. I bought the Country Redwood, which is one of the dark reds, and it's one of my favorite reds. And then I bought old brick because looking at the piece, I was like, well, the reds in this piece are really important, so I'll buy a couple of the called for. And the old brick is this pink color. I ended up substituting, the rest of the colors I either pulled the DMC or a similar looking overdyed that I had. So for the most part, they're kind of close, but I ended up switching some colors around, and I really have enjoyed these changes. For example, the old brick color was supposed to be in these berries as well, and I used Color and Cotton clay pot for those, and I really like the look it gives it because I just thought this looked too pink, and I like that this looks a little bit more like an unripe strawberry on its way to being ripe. And then the house is supposed to be a darker brick color, and I didn't like it, so I switched it and I made it pink. The gate is also supposed to be red, and the roof is supposed to be a different brown. I don't know. I just switched things around. So if you're interested in knowing exact colors, I can look it up, but I just kind of grabbed stuff that was close to the DMC. That was my general rule. And I really like how it turned out. Yeah, I really like this piece. I did get a little bored with the board stitching the border, even though it switches colors a lot. So that made me nervous if I ever do a bigger sampler with the bigger border, but we'll figure it out at that time. I want to stitch all the blackbirds now. I have a couple in my stash. I've acquired a couple new ones too. So thank you, Northern California Stitchers, for bringing me into your blackbird group. Not that there aren't many others of you who like blackbird. Obviously, they're popular for a reason. They're gorgeous. But special shout out to Maddie and Olivia and Michelle for your epic blackbird fangirl status that I now aspire to be. Anyway, let me show you the frame that I'm considering for this piece. This is another thrift store frame. I got this for $3. Yes, please. It's got a nice little flowery whatever. And so it's shockingly perfectly shaped because it's a little longer than your standard. It's like, I haven't measured it. I'm too lazy to measure it. But it's a little bit narrower and longer than like an 8x10 frame. So I think I like this piece in it. I was a little worried that the wood color on this frame is too bright and I could paint it, but I think I like it as is. See if I can get this to stay in here. Okay. Right? I think it makes the colors pop nicely. So we'll see. I need to get some stuff to stretch it. So that was my first finish of the year. And I hope to not take over a year to FFO it, especially since I have the frame ready. Be back there for now. Okay, what else? That's it for finishes. I do have some more things that are waiting to be FFO'd. Like I said, I have more that's like ready to go, but I was losing momentum. So I think I'll wait to show you the in progress stuff. Is not going to be very exciting. So let's move on to whips and new starts. These will be in no particular order. He's snoozing so peacefully. I'm so proud of him. He doesn't usually sleep on the floor, so that also is making me happy that he wants to be next to me. So cute. Okay, let's go. This next little piece, I started it in December. I posted, oops, don't eat that magnet. I posted a picture of it somewhere, I think, but I didn't really talk about it a lot. So this, oh, look how cute. This was a little kit. I don't know what I did with the chart. a little kit that was sent to me by one of my lovely followers and Instagram friends, Patty. She sent it to me, I think over the summer maybe, and I kept meaning to start it because it looked like such a nice, easy, like, travel project, but I never did, and finally I did. So this is in pearl cotton, which is the first time I've stitched in that, and I really have enjoyed it. It goes really quickly, and it's on like a 14 count linen, I think. Something count. It came with it. And I've actually been doing most of it. I started it in a hoop, but then I've been doing most of it in hand, and I've been doing the sewing method, which I don't enjoy on smaller fabric. I've tried it a little bit, but I really enjoy on this larger count and with, what am I saying? With the pearl cotton. It's been really handy. My stitches are definitely, like, I think my stitches reflect that this is a new fiber for me and a new method. So they're a little uneven. Some of them are like, I've definitely not been stitching it in the best possible sewing method way. Sewing method, if you don't know, is where your needle stays on the front of the fabric. So rather than like stabbing and pulling it out and then stabbing and pulling it back, which is a lot of extra hand motion, you're just putting it in and out of the hole and pulling it through, and you stay on top of the fabric. So, you know, in theory, that is a lot faster of a method. But for me, I don't really enjoy holding larger projects in hand. I kind of like it for little projects and little projects where the fabric is pretty stiff. That's where I have found success. I have to show you the cat again because he found a new place to snooze. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now, can you see him? That's a little scrap-looking box where I keep my finished that are waiting to be framed or finished. And he's in the lid. And he takes up the whole thing because he's huge. He's so cute. Okay. Anyway, I've really been enjoying this. I basically now I'm just filling in that white color. So I have actually just taken to keeping this project in my backpack. And I'm taking it with me. I take public transit to work, and I rarely get to sit down because it's pretty crowded. And when I do sit down, I'm on the train for like 25 minutes, and it's rare, if I get to sit down, it's very rare that it's for the whole trip. Like usually it's halfway through, so I may be sitting for like 10 or 15 minutes. And sometimes I just prefer to stand because I sit a lot at work, and but sometimes I'm sleepy, so I enjoy when I can sit. Anyway, I just put it in its little bag and have a needle minder and my needle, and I'm down to just the one color, so it's super easy. So I really have enjoyed how transportable this is, and I'm looking for similar projects for the future. Okay, so that will be finished. Well, I obviously I could finish that really quickly if I sat down to do it, but I'm not in a huge rush for it, because it's just really nice to have something that I can stitch on when the time comes. I have plans of, like, you know, someday stitching over my lunch break, but I most often work through my lunch break, or like I would rather take a break to like take a walk than to take a lunch break. So I usually work at my desk and then I take a break elsewhere. So I intend to maybe use one of those breaks as stitching time, but it hasn't happened yet. But maybe someday. Okay, who's next? Oh, this is an exciting new start. I started this yesterday. This is Moon Dance by Kathy Barrick. Trisha, 3 Hollow Threads, showed this in a recent video, and I was like, I have that too. This is a recently retired pattern by Kathy Barrick, so she retired some patterns and they were posted at half price on her Etsy store. I think some of them are still there. And so I went to take a look. Obviously, this has the moon, so I needed it, and I bought another one as well. And then when I saw Trisha had it, and I commented, I have that too, she was like, let's stitch it. So I kitted it up. And I saw she posted a video yesterday 2 days ago, and she started hers. So I was like, oh, I gotta get going. So I have a start. Ah, look at that little moon. I started it last night because it was the full moon. It was a super blue blood moon, so very exciting. And yeah, that's my start so far. I don't remember where I got this linen. I think it's a 28 count. I have no idea. I was really trying to remember. I think it maybe came in like a random, sometimes I buy a random lot on eBay that has stitching stuff if I see something that looks interesting, and I think it came in one of those. Anyway, I went to pull all the colors, and I have 0 of the DMC colors. It's charted in silk, and I was not going to do that, but she lists DMC conversions, and I had none of them. And I don't have a full DMC set. I have like maybe half of the colors, but I assumed that out of this piece I would have maybe half of the colors, and I did not. At least not readily accessible. They might be in other projects. So I just used the picture on the front, which is not the best picture ever. And I just went through my floss and found what I liked, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I might end up making some changes as we go, but those are my colors. So it's a lot of Victorian motto. Here, let's just go through it. Victorian motto Tropical Wonder. Red Maple. Do the mottos first. Sweet Orange. Mustard Shades. Gold Dust Yarrow. And then Classic Colorworks Mint Julep. I bought this at StitchCon because it's called Mint Julep. And I'm from Kentucky Derby, mint juleps. Mint juleps aren't teal, so I don't fully get it. And also, I have a lot of teal threads in my overdyed collection. It was a very popular color last year. So I don't really stitch in teal very often. Anyway, this is the perfect project for this. I don't know where I was going with that. And then Gentle Art, Brethren Blue. I think this also came in a random eBay box. And then also Fiberlicious Toffee. Ooh, it's so luscious. This is Fiberlicious, and I totally get the name now. I got this at StitchCon. Who gave it to? Someone had threads, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name. I'm going to remember it like as soon as I stop recording. Anyway, I got this lovely, lovely silk thread. I love it so much. I'm a little nervous it's not going to be enough for the whole piece because it's just single strand, and I don't really know how. My brain can't calculate. My brain cannot visually calculate. I could actually calculate it. My brain can't visually tell if that's going to be enough for the amount of this color in this project, but it's going to be fine, or I'll find a DMC for the rest, or I'll find more Fiberlicious. The cat got cuter. Next to him, that's his bed. It's a piece of toast. Jam on toast. Okay, those of you who make videos where you're like super concise, I always think like, oh, I don't have that much to say about this stitching, but man, I have so much to say. Oh, fun little thing to add here. I talked about this maybe in a video, but definitely I posted it on Instagram that I really like to take cards that I receive in the mail, and then rather than just drop them into my mailbox, I really like to use them sometimes as bookmarks and then sometimes as thread cards. And so last year, so cute, Lauren, Cat Lady Stitcher, sent me a lovely little chart as a gift, and she included her 2018 Christmas card, which is her and Charlie and Luna, her kittens, and oh my goodness, it's a New Year's card, excuse me, but it makes me so happy, and Jam and I definitely need to do this next year. So I just punched some holes, and now I have my thread card. I really enjoy using cards like these to keep the leftover threads, or to like pull out a couple of strands from one of these things and then just have it off of this to work from. So like if I wanted to take my project and stitch somewhere, I don't have to take all of this if I don't want to. I can just take that, and it just makes me happy. So, and Lauren makes me happy. Girl, you better make a video. I'm just kidding. If you make a video, I'll be overjoyed. If you don't, that means you're probably spending your time stitching, so I'm overjoyed for you as well. Okay, so that's my new start. I forgot to put the chart back. Did I show you all Life After Death? Or did I just show you that I was going to start it? I could find that out, but I'll just show you again. I started Life After Death. I bought this chart and fabric and floss as my birthday present to myself last year. My birthday's in May. And I bought it all at Needle in a Haystack with help from my lovely stitchy crew. And this is my start so far. I love this so much. Oh, so I am stitching this on 40 count. I think it's Bramble. Pretty sure it's 40 count Bramble by Picture This Plus. It might be, no, it's Bramble. Gassed Storm Clouds, my favorite color. And then gassed, I forget. Oh, that's Storm Clouds. There it is. Bayberry, which, I totally lost my train of thought. It's reading a little bit lighter in a different tone than I was kind of going for. So I think I might be using less of the Bayberry than I had like originally envisioned, but we're gonna just see what happens. I want to be really careful with my color choices because I know myself and I'm gonna be way too impatient to frog on 40 count. Anyway, I'm stitching it 1/2 on 40 count. I love it very, very much. I also have my favorite color in Cotton Inkwell to add in there, which I think I'm going to be using more as like an accent piece throughout than like a main color, but we're going to see what happens. I really love this piece. It definitely slows me down to stitch on 40 count, which makes sense. So I've stitched on it, this is like maybe 3 or 4 different stitching sessions, and I'm hoping to make it a regular part of my rotation. I don't have a rotation, and I won't have a rotation, but just a more regular part of my stitching life. It's just, I find that I don't really want to stitch on it during the week because my brain's tired. And I'm storing it in my Diana bag that Diana It Is Kismet sent me, and I love it for an 8x10 frame that has a lot of extra stuff with it. It's perfect. Because Diana's perfect. Oops, okay. It's too messy. Ooh, I'm getting hungry. I gotta go faster. Okay, next up, whip and a forest screw. I'm stitching this. It was my New Year's start last year. I didn't have a New Year's start this year, but I didn't stitch on it very much, so this is what I have so far. I would love to finish this piece this year. I'm not going to set myself that goal because I have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of projects going on, but I definitely want to stitch on it more than I did this year. So I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but I will. This is almost the whole first page. There's like a couple partial trees that go on to the next page. And this tree I just stitched yesterday. So I am committing in 2019 to stitch at least 1 page. No. I'm committing to stitching, let's say 2 pages. At least 2 pages. That sounds good. And yeah, I really, really love this piece. 1/25 count. That's my jam. I really like stitching 1/1. It goes quickly. You use hardly any thread. Like, I feel like I keep losing my train of thought. I'm more tired than I thought. yeah, like I'll cut a length of thread and then I'll finish that color in the tree, and then I look at what I have left and I'm like, what did I even need? Like, what? It feels very frugal. If you are, tight on budget, stitch 1/1 and stitch motifs. You don't use any thread. That being said, this pattern has 103 colors, so I have plenty of thread. I am keeping this project in my moon bag from Eclectic Possessions. Oh, it got a little wonky there. I love this bag. I love the moon. Okay, do I have other... I have some other stuff that's back here. Oh, we need to talk about this. Okay, I started a new project. I wanted a new monochromatic project because I had a plane trip last week and I wanted something to take on the plane that would be really easy, and none of my whips at the time would work for that. So I went through newly acquired pieces and I picked out, I don't know where the cover page went. Oh, picked out Modern Folk Embroidery, 2 Birds, 1 Tree. I bought this on Stash Unload. I really like it. And in my head, I had the perfect floss that I wanted to use it for, this really dark blue, beautifully variegated Victorian motto. I put that floss in a kit somewhere and I can't find it. So I was like, that's okay. Let me see what else I have. And so I kind of went through and I picked out this linen. See my start? I picked out this linen that I really like. I forget where it's from. It's a little bit mottled. I think it's 28 count. I don't know. And then I went through my threads and I found this. I have a lot of blues and I don't. Last year I was subscribed to Victorian Motto and Color and Cotton off and on throughout the year. However, I wasn't really stitching all that much and I wasn't really starting new things. So I put myself on hold for a while because I wanted to use up some of those threads, or at least feel justified in subscribing again. So I went through and I actually kitted stuff up and I'm actually using them and it's very fun. And soon I will resume my membership, subscription, whatever. Anyway, this is Centennial Blue by Victorian Motto. I really enjoy it. But it's not really variegated, and I really wanted something more variegated. If I'm going to do just one color, I don't want it to be plain. So I started stitching this, and I like it. It's cute, but I'm not in love with it, and I want to find the blue that I envisioned when I bought the pattern. I ended up basically stitching the color that this is called for, which I don't even know what that is. Let's find out. No. You don't have anywhere to go, right? Okay. Let's see. They don't even say what color they used. Huh. It just says, it just gives you all the measurements and like how much thread you need. Well, that's annoying. Whatever. I ended up stitching it in basically the color that's in the model picture, which is fine. It's pretty, but it's just not really me. I also might be changing this piece to be a wedding sampler for somebody, so I would be changing it to her wedding colors instead. So I'm gonna rip this out. I think I've been toying with like finishing the bird off and then finishing it as a small, but I think I would rather rip it out and reuse this whole piece of fabric for something else. So it's in my like undecided pile. So if you have opinions, let me know. Also, it's in this nice little bag that my mom gave me for Christmas. It was in my stocking. It's a little vinyl pouch. It's all gusseted at the bottom. I think she bought it at like a quilt shop or a fabric shop or something. It's just a little like Notions whatever bag, and the card that came in it, you know, gave you lots and lots of ideas for it. And I looked at it and I was like, stitching and nothing else, duh. but the handle is attached, like the zipper, and then you have this. That's genius. I have project bag stitching dreams, and that will be a featured element that I will experiment with. I just think that's so cool. Anyway, it's really soft and pliable. This is a very different material than the other bags that I've I don't know what I'm saying. It's a little bit different than what I remember seeing in other project bags. It doesn't have a brand name. I ripped off the tag and I forgot who made it. It's some local craftsperson at some shop that my mom went to in New England. So, sorry that I don't have more. Okay, next up, this is a piece that I bought when I was in Kentucky for Christmas. And my sister and I went to the LNS because we were having breakfast down the road, and I was like, can we just go pop in? And she was like, fine. So in Louisville, Kentucky, there's a great little shop called The Finishing Touch, and it's a very small store, but it is chock full of goodness, and we spent some time browsing around, and I wasn't really finding anything that like I really had to have. They have a lot of patterns, obviously, but not the same level as many stores. So there are like some spinning racks and several baskets of things, but just significantly less than what I have experienced in other stores. Anyway, so I'm walking around, I'm like, I'm not really finding anything, but like I really, really just want to buy a new project. You know how it is. And I like supporting that shop because I would like them to stay open, like all cross stitch stores. So I try, if I'm visiting an LNS, I like to purchase something. And so I ended up actually finding a chart that I like and that my sister likes, and then I let her pick out colors, and I'm going to stitch it for her. But really, I'm going to start it for her, and then I'm going to transfer its stitching ownership to her so she can finish it for herself. So this is Ink Circles Fleur de Lis. So I could show you my start. That would be maybe more exciting. Oh, look at that. So this is a lovely little geometric piece. Needle is hanging. My sister liked it, and she I think her request was something she can put on her desk. And so I was like, well, none of these are your style. But this is her style, Fleur de Lis. Fleur de Lis are a big thing in Louisville. And then she picked out a scrap. I think we started with thread. She said she wanted purple. And so she picked out Gentle Art Hyacinth, which is very pretty, a little bit variegated. And then we went over to their bin of small cuts, and she found a piece. I don't know if I kept the label. I think it's R&R linen. In the cut, it's like putty or something that doesn't sound all that pretty. And it's, I think, 36 count. So I started it and stitched it a little bit on the plain. It definitely wasn't the best plain stitch because it was a smaller count. And I had to frog out some stuff, so it's kind of in timeout for a little while. I also don't really love purple. It's not my favorite color. And I realized when I came back that I have a couple beautiful skeins of overdyed purples that I will be very slow to use, and I should have remembered that and used one, but that's fine. My sister's visiting in a couple months, and so I'm going to try to get her to stitch on it, and then maybe finish it while she's here. We won't. We'll see. I don't know. Yes, I do keep my projects in their hoops and their Q-snaps when I'm not working on them. I'm a rebel. Okay, I have one other one that I don't know what happened to it. I have another new start, but it's like 10 stitches. It's not really anything remarkable, so I'm not going to bother. Because we are just slowly churning through this, and I have a lot more to share. Last time we talked, maybe, I think this was after that. I mix up what I talk about in videos and what I talk about on Instagram and what I just talk about to myself, to the cat. But back here I have a whole bag that's full of things that are kitted up, or kits, or mostly kitted up, and that I want to stitch. And most of this you've seen, a lot of it you've seen, or you've seen parts of, but now it's like all just, these are all ready to start. So like I could do Mania, I could do start Apocalypse, I could do any of the things. I'm not doing that yet. I'm kind of just seeing what happens. And I realize that I have great anxiety over the fact that they're just disorganized, and I mean, they're organized, but they're just all in plastic bags, and that's not very fun. So it's finally time to put this fabric to good use and make some project bags. So that's my goal, is that for every project bag I make, I can have a new start, and I'll do whatever I want. There's no like real system plan with that. But I went through my fabric stash, which has exploded recently, even though I haven't really sewn anything. And I put together the fabrics I liked for the outsides and the linings. But now the next step is to actually like cut them out and sew them together. I'm going to do some just basic Vana envelopes, and then maybe progress to some more complicated things. We'll see. But when we were at Olivia's for Stitchy Christmas, girl has the most impressive collection of whips and things that are ready to be started that are all in their own project bags. And I was like, I would be so much more motivated to pick up a beautiful project bag and take out whatever's in it and stitch on it than I would be motivated to like take out a plastic bag. So that's my vision, is that instead of stacks of fabric here, I'll have stacks of project bags full of stitching, and life will be beautiful. So as we work through that, you'll get to see more and more of what's in here. I think for the most part, you've at least seen all the charts in here. I wanted to share the one other chart that I bought in Louisville at the Finishing Touch. It may not be in here. I don't have very many of the threads for it yet. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, look how gorgeous this is. So I picked this up at the store. Whoops. And it turned out one of the women working there was actually stitching on it. And so we had a nice little bonding moment because it's so gorgeous. This is Cottage Gardens, one of their bird series, Winter's Wisdom. It's so pretty. Sorry, there's a glare. And it's called for like Weeks something. Maybe this is called for a Weeks Putty. No, Tin Roof. Which was just kind of too brown for me. And so I ended up picking out 36 count. Oh, I mean, you know me. I love a good gray. This is Dapple, 36 count, picture this plus. I love the Finishing Touch because they do custom cuts. So I got the exact right size, which I just think is the coolest feature of cross stitching. Obviously, you can make do with a larger piece than you need, but for like a square piece like this, you'd have extras, and it's just so nice that they'll do that extra step and save you a little bit of money, because doesn't that cost them some money? Because then they're gonna have random scraps that, yes, they can sell, but sometimes you have like nothing useful. Anyway, while I was in the store, I was trying to pull some of the Weeks colors that it calls for, and they were out of most of them, so I bought a couple. I bought Teal Frost, and then of course I was like, wait a minute, as soon as I got home I was like, I have so many teal colors, I probably could have found one in my stash. Collards, which is a lovely variegated green, and then Oak, which is a nice variegated brown, tan, whatever. And this was another one where I didn't have any of the called for, or the DMC alternatives handy. So I have like white and black. But the rest I couldn't find, or they were in other projects. But I do have an Anchor brown, this is 905, that I'm going to substitute for one of the browns. So that's slowly, if I can get a few more things going, I'll feel good about starting it. I'm a little nervous to start it without having more colors. Typically for a piece like that, I like to be able to finish a motif. So if I don't have all the colors for a motif, I'm not happy. Anyway, this bag of starts continues to grow as I acquire more projects, and I'm very happy about that. I feel off my game, and I'm trying to figure out why. Because I'm like a little bit organized and prepared. I don't know. The sun's coming for us though. So we gotta hurry. A few more things I want to share with you. I have some new purchases, and these are more recent purchases than the chart I just shared with you, because I guess we've already moved into haul. But I have just been scanning around on Stash Unload. I've been selling some charts, and so then I'm on there as well, and I've just found a few things that I've really enjoyed. And then I also found some goodies at the thrift store, and also some fabric at Tuesday Morning. And yeah, I've been on a great streak. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I have recently found. These are also in no particular order. We're just going to pull stuff out. First up, I went to we have a creative reuse store, so it's like thrift store, craft store combination. And you can find all sorts of random stuff there. A lot of it's very junky stuff, but that you can use for art projects. So like teachers will go there for various things. They have a lot of textiles, but they're not really organized, and it's difficult. But I went through and pulled out some ribbon that I enjoyed, so that as I work on making drawstring gift bags, I have some trim for that. And I don't know exactly how much I paid for this. I had a small stack of a few. I'll try to pull out the things that I bought at the store. The store is really frustrating because a few things will be labeled with a really clear price. A few things they sell by the pound or by the inch. So if you buy like stationery, they charge like $2 per inch. Buttons they charge by the pound. It's very random. And they have like some guidelines up at the register, but they also will sometimes just like look at your pile and be like $10. So sometimes I go in and I find a few things, and then I pay like 4 times more than I was expecting. It's still usually a great deal, but it can be a little, I'm often very nervous to like pick up a lot of stuff because I don't want to pay a lot of money. This time I went up with a small little stack, and he asked for $4, and I was like, yeah, great. So this was part of that $4 purchase, as was this piece of 18 count Aida. I've found that I don't really like stitching on Aida currently, so I might not keep that, but it was a nice size piece. I got some stitching no-sew fabric tape, so I thought that might also be helpful for some of my framing, rogue framing. And then they had this big basket of things that I got so excited because it looked like it was just full of dimensions kits. And I was like, what surprises could be in here? And it was a lot of stamped cross stitch, which was not appealing. And there were a few like stocking kits that I didn't want to stitch. And they just looked so like outdated that I wasn't really sure I could find a good home for them. And then there were a bunch of like weird like stuffed animal patterns where you like stitch clothes and then you sew it onto an animal and stuff it. I don't know. There were a lot of them. So I didn't buy any of those, but I did find one that looked perfect. And I bought it. And it's these little cat ornaments. Look at that. That's jam. That's jam. That's jam. That's jam. These could be jam. And so I was like, yeah, I'll definitely like stitch at least one of those. And then I got home and I like pulled out the materials because I didn't look that closely. And a couple of them are actually started. So also in this like weird sleeve. I don't understand. This one is too. I don't know what this is, but it's kind of cool, I guess, if you, I don't know. It's not finished, obviously. That's the cat on the stairs. He's very, very cute. And then this one, I have no idea. It's got a little bit. But it has, you know, some other Ada squares. It has this, it has felt to do the backing. It has ribbon to hang them with. And it has this like bias stuff to do the finishing as well. And all the threads. So, like, I might stitch one of those. That would be worth it. So that was part of my $4 bag. And then they have several magazine holders that are full of mostly quilting books and knitting and not very much cross stitching, but I found a little bit of cross stitching and I pulled it out. And in particular, where did it go? Oh, I found this San Francisco Victorian era. This is, where is it? Oh yeah, Judith Sandy Graphic Needle Arts, and I live in San Francisco, so I decided that would be very nice. It's got a cable car and a house and the painted ladies. And then I also found, ooh, Prairie Schooler pins and needles, which I forgot to list on my stash and load, so I'm gonna go do that. Because I don't really want to stitch this, but how fun. So I was pretty pleased with that. So I think I got all of that. Maybe some other odd or end, but all of that for $4. Yes. But you know, I could have gone up there and they would have said like 20 bucks or like, you know, said $1 per pattern and $5 for this kit and $7 for all this ribbon and whatever. Luckily they just said $4 and I was like, that sounds amazing. So that was a great find. And then I go to Goodwill. No. I went to Tuesday Morning because it was across from the Goodwill. And I remember someone talking about how they found fabric. And I was like, I'll just go check it out. They might have some good crafty stuff. I never go to Tuesday Morning because it's not really anywhere near me, but I happened to be near it. And they did have some fabrics. I don't know if these are good fabrics, but I've been in a very quilty mood. I haven't made a quilt before, but I just keep buying fabric so that I could. And I also really have enjoyed using fat quarters to make drawstring gift bags. So kind of no matter the quality, I'm happy to turn a fat quarter into a gift bag. So first thing I did was pick up this little pack of fat quarters. I don't know how to show you. Whatever. Lots of grays. That's my jam. These are not like a great material, and I know that. I know a little bit about how to tell fabric, but I didn't really, I was going to look this up before I shared it with you so that I would seem really smart and knowledgeable, but I didn't. I got 2 charm packs by Benartex. I don't know, it says fabric for quilters by quilters, so that sounds good. But they, you know, Tuesday Morning they were half off, and then all this stuff was half off of that. So these were $3 each for a charm pack of 42 pieces each. This one is all grays. This one's all like holiday-ish jewel tones. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I really like buying fabric. And then they also had this what are these? Layer cakes. This is Michael Miller Fabrics. I don't know if that's any good, but it feels fine. It's all like pinks and bright colors, and it just made me happy, and it was also half off. So it was $9 for 24 pieces. So I did that. Just add that to my fabric stash. No big deal. I also, then I went to Goodwill and I got this little cat hook. It's just like my little temper. So I don't know where I'm going to put this yet, but I'm very excited about it. I got Jam a harness, so maybe we can hang his harness up. He would just play with it though and chew it and pull it down and probably make a hole in my wall. Oh, I'm looking for this. I got this little soap dish as well because we needed a soap dish, and then I thought I lost it or it fell out in my car or something, but I found it. Okay, we gotta really, really get moving because I'm really hungry now. Oh, I got this in the mail ages ago, but I wasn't making videos, and I found it again when I was reorganizing back here, and I got the sweetest little card from Audrey, Stitchy Witch 42, and she made some over-dyed, hand-dyed threads. And it's showing really purple there, but it's really more blue. I don't know how to... No, none of that's the right color. But it's really gorgeous. Girl, you're talented. And thank you very much. And happy Halloween to you. I should put that with my floss. I don't know where my floss is. Whatever. Okay. Now we're going to go through some charts I bought on Stash and Load. We're going to maybe go quickly. Maybe not. I love Margaret Cherry and these tubby cats. So here we have Perfect Harmony. So cute. Oh, yes, yes, especially yes. I saw this on Stash and Load, and I also know my girl McKenna was just stitching it. So I snagged it. Gertrude's Garden by Just Stitching Along. I think she started this. And I found a piece, I think I bought this on Stash and Load too. It's a piece of heritage, so I'm going to use that. I haven't pulled any colors yet, but I will. And add that to my bag of Starks. I got myself La-Di-Da Fractor Flowers. Don't have materials for it yet. That's okay. I love my ink circles. So I found Ink Circles Wild Side and Ink Circles Forest Flower. Blackbird, the Summer Beaming Forth. I like that little house. It's little berries. This one I'm pretty stoked about. Primitive Hair, a sampler study. It's kind of cut off in the picture, but I really like this little one. The little deer and his little, like, giant cherries hanging from the tree. That. Who else? Oh, some of these I kind of forgot about, so whatever. Be Kind and True. Very, very cute. This, I think, is... So, I bought... On eBay, I got a thing that had 3 Blackbird patterns and some fabric and thread, and I haven't figured out which project it goes with. So, it came with... Oh, it came with 30 count linen. Okay. Antique Rose, Banker's Gray, Barn Gray, and Raspberry Parfait. So those are beautiful. And then I also got Special Delivery, which is a birth sampler. I wonder, that's a lot of pinks. Oh, that's what they go with. Oh, that's, I guess I looked at the other 2 charts and was like, this can't be right, but it is. So I'm guessing that this is 30 count Old Mill Java by R&R. Well, this says French Vanilla, so whatever. I probably will sell this, but I'm going to keep the floss and thread. That's my new life hack, by the way, is I buy a kitted up thing that I like. If you like the colors, just steal the fibers. Okay, I bought that lot because I liked this little guy and Midnight Watch, which I'm definitely going to change that to an orange cat. Okay, sun's really coming for us. But that's okay, because we only have 2 more. Plum Street Chocolate Hearts, very cute. And Praiseworthy Stitches Knots and Flowers sampler. I really don't remember buying this. I wonder why I did. It says, here in this green and shady bower, delicious fruits and flagrant flower, virtue shall dwell within this feet. Virtue alone can make it sweet. Brought by me in the year of our Lord, 2006. Maybe this came with something else, but I feel like I picked this out on Stash and Load. Maybe. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at this, I don't think I really want to stitch that. It's fine, but that's not really, it's got peacocks. It's got lots of flowers. I do like this vase of flowers in the middle. I don't know. I don't like the poem on it. I think that's the problem. I don't remember, so I'm going to hold on to it for a while until I remember. We are officially out of time, and the sun has come, and we have to go, but I forgot to tell you one really cool thing that I'm really, really proud of in my Blackbird, in Strawberry Fields Forever. This piece is charted with the year 1992, which is significant to this song for some reason that I have forgotten. I don't know. It said 1992, and then I was like, oh, I don't really care about 1992, but I'd already stitched it. And then I had the brilliant idea. I ripped out the 9 and the 0 so that it says 19, which is the year that I finished it. Brilliant. And then there was a B over here, and I changed it, obviously, to my initials. And I'm really, really pleased with remembering to do that. I try to remember to sign my work in thread. I have forgotten on a few pieces, but I really like when you can work it in. And I'm really, really proud of that one. So that's it. I really need to go put away all the stuff that's now scattered on my floor. It's been great hanging with you. I'll be back next month. I'm going to try to do this monthly again because that's a great system to not have too much stuff. Jam is stretching. Let's see if we can get him over here. Hey, come here. I'm so proud of him because normally he'd be, when I sit down to kit something up, he's in my face, grabbing everything, chewing on everything. I have to lock him out of the room, and he's just been snoozing so peacefully. Let's give him a treat. Anyway, thanks for hanging with me. I enjoy you all immensely. I bought my plane tickets for the retreats, so I'm going to all the retreats. Not all of them, but I'm going to Stitch Shenanigans in April. So if you'll be there, let me know. I'm going to StitchCon, let me know. And I'm going to the Flosstube retreat in New Jersey. I need a roommate, so if you need a roommate, let me know. Oh, Jammy Jams. Look at this little muffin. Oh, mwah. If you have tips on training your cats not to bite, please let me know that too, because he's a biter. Oh, mwah. He's so cute. Okay, I'll let him go. I'll let you go. I gotta go find some food. I love you. Goodbye.